All right, guys, let's just be honest for a minute, okay? For most of you, you know how to trade, right? You've studied the charts, you've passed challenges, you've had solid runs, and for a lot of you, this isn't something that is new to you. So the real question really is, why do you keep finding yourself back at square one? Why does it feel like every time you take two steps forward, you slide straight back? And it's not that you don't know how to trade. It's not that you haven't done the work. It's not that you don't know the knowledge. You know, this is about execution, showing up, etc., etc. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because this week I've spoken to a lot of traders. And one of the number one things that keeps popping up is the pressure. It's about the trust in yourself, the trust in your process, and in the version of you that you're becoming. And I remember back in the day, I'd spend hours learning, marking the charts, thinking this strategy was the one, 3 o'clock in the morning, waking up my missus, saying I've got it. And then boom, I'll fold the second the market pushed against me the next day. And it kind of created this ripple effect where I started questioning everything, my process, my worth, whether I was even cut out for this. And not because I didn't have a skill, but because I didn't yet have a strong enough belief. And what I found I was trying to do was win the game today, right? Whilst doubting the player. And that's where a lot of you are right now. You're not lacking the strategy, you're lacking the stability, right? You're not lacking the signals, you're lacking the structure, right? You're not fighting the market, you're fighting yourself. And this message is for the trader who feels like they should be further along by now in their journey, but just something keeps knocking them off track. And I want to put it out there to you guys. You're not crazy, you're not broken, but something needs to shift. So, what is it that needs to shift? Is a big question. But that's what I want to talk about today. And most traders right now who are struggling think that the biggest battle is on the chart. And the truth of the matter is, it's not, right? The real fight is in your head, it's in your habits, it's in how you respond after the trade. It's when you're 6% up and your brain whispers to you, bro, one more win and you're nearly done. And then that ripple effect starts, right? Then boom, you start to overtrade, you start to over leverage, you start to micromanage, and then all of a sudden you blow the account. Or it's when you pass phase one and then suddenly you feel pressure to be perfect in phase two. So you stop trading how you pass phase one, and then you start trading scared. Now, I know for some of you this sounds familiar. So it's not the strategy, right? It's not even the skill. It's a you versus you battle. And this really is where most traders never solve, or what most traders never solve. Not because they can't, but because they keep thinking they need to learn more, when in reality, they need to trust more. They need to trust the plan. They need to trust the process. They need to trust themselves. And here's why you don't trust yourself yet, because deep down, you've made too many promises to yourself and you've broken them. So now you've lost trust in yourself and your abilities. You said you'd follow your plan, but then you move your stop loss. You said you'd risk 1%, but you doubled it the next setup just to make back the loss. You said you were done over trading, but you were bored, you're frustrated, so you start chasing more trades. So now every time you sit at the chart, what is happening is your subconscious doesn't believe you anymore. You feel like a liar. And that hesitation, that second guessing, that little voice saying, don't mess this up again, that's not doubt. That's disbelief. And it's not because you suck, it's because your track record with yourself isn't clean yet. But the good news is that trust can be rebuilt. And it can't be built with hype, it can't be built with hope. It has to come from evidence. So, how do you rebuild trust with yourself? It's pretty simple. You just stop trying to be perfect and start being consistent. You've got to pick one strategy, one setup, one pair, and you've got to run it like a professional. Whether that's setting your risk at 1%, 0.5%, you've got to stick to it even if the trade looks good and it can't lose. You got to do the simple things. You got to journal after every session, not just on the good days. You can't grow, guys, if you're reviewing just your wins. You got to take a break when you say you will. Don't just sit there hoping the market gives you something, right? You have to understand you are not the prize, not the other way around. Sorry, I said that the wrong way around. You are the prize, not the other way around, trying to win trades. And most importantly, don't rush it. Because every time you follow your rules, every time you say no to a bad trade, every time you close a laptop with discipline, that's a deposit into your confidence bank. So you're not just trading the charts, you're trading your character. And then once you become consistent, the results won't be far behind. And here's what I need you to understand before we wrap this up. You're not failing, okay? You're forming. This isn't breakdown. This is what we call build up. So all the setbacks that you're having, the cycles, the drawdowns, they're not evidence that you're not good enough. They're the resistance that shapes the version of you that doesn't break under pressure. And most people fold because they expect trading to just work. But this game doesn't reward the most talented, okay? It rewards the ones who refuse to quit on themselves. So if it feels like you've been stuck, like you've been doing this for months, maybe even years, and you still haven't seen the big win, just take a minute and breathe. Zoom out, because you're not behind, guys. You're becoming. And every time you show up, every time you choose structure over impulse, every time you reset instead of rage quit, you're stacking character. And character cashes out. So this isn't just about the payout, it's about becoming the trader who doesn't need to chase it anymore. So don't fold now, because I can promise you a lot of you are closer than you think. If this resonated with you guys, hit that like button for me, subscribe, turn on notifications, and until next time, as I always say, continue to trust the process.